What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, follow me on TikTok, all that stuff. So let's talk about another one of the fights on the card last night, which was Big Fraze return. Frazer Clarke returns after that horrific, wow, that loss to Fabio Wardley. The jaw, I believe, was broken and fractured in the cheek and all this. So this was the first time coming back for Frazer Clarke. Obviously, there were question marks over him. Simply, I would say, just simply because of the injury, because the injury looked so bad in his loss to Fabio Wardley that many people sort of question whether he should even make a return to boxing because the injury was that bad and disfigured the face. And yeah, coming into this one, is in against Ebenezer Tetteh, who is the guy that Dillian White last fought. Who's a guy that I think he claims to be in his 30s, but he's clearly in his 40s or something like that. And yeah, so Tete is a game guy. Gave Dillian White a lot more trouble than should have been necessary, but that was his last bout. So he came in to win, to have a go. And first bell rings. Frazer Clarke, high guard, boxes well behind the jab, mixes up, to head and body as you would like. Very good shot selection. He uses his feet quite well, and he just uses quite sensible boxing when Tete tries to throw his wild hooks and uppercuts. Tete was sort of missing by miles pretty much every time he threw. So Frazer Clarke got the measure of him very, very quickly. Good jab to the bod, to the what am I saying, the bod, to the head and body. And yeah, just sensible boxing by Frazer Clarke. And he was making sure that he was digging in hard shots to the body as well to sort of slow Tete down. But you could tell he was the superior guy in there, much better technician and the much more skilled guy. And as the round wore on, and it wasn't even one round, this one, you got to about, halfway through the round, Frazer Clarke begins to land some big shots. Good left hook to Tete's head. And then he tried to throw another one, little sneaky uppercut. And then he threw a right hook to Tete's head. And down goes Tetteh. And you could tell Tetteh was quite wobbly. I mean, to his credit, he waited. I think he gets up around the count of six. He gets up, and then the referee takes a look at him, allows the fight to carry on, sends Tetteh out again to fight, and Frazer Clarke again comes in, pouring the shots on, and there was one significant big shot that he landed on Tetteh, which was a good, again, another right hook where he just comes around the guard of Tetteh, lands a right hook, and that wobbles. You could see it physically wobble Tetteh, but to Tetteh's credit, this time he sort of stayed on his feet, and he tried to punch back, and then they kind of got into a clinch, and then they released from Frazer Clarke was trying to work in the clinch, and as the referee as they got separated by the referee then sort of steps in and just waves it off, and Tetteh was outraged by this, and I think personally, it's one of those where if you're Tetteh, you are going to be annoyed by this because you'll be thinking, well, I should have been allowed, you should have broke us and then let me continue to fight. But if you're from the referee's perspective, it's one of these things where it's like, well, you're just trying to keep the fighter safe. So I suppose from the referee's perspective, he's just trying to sort of keep the fighter safe and sort of make sure that no major injuries come to the fighter. And similar to the Whitaker and Cameron one, that was an early stoppage, but with this one, at least you have the knockdown there, so it's not as controversial. Is that? And you could see Tetteh was out of it, and I think that the fight really was only gonna go one way. Yes, the referee could have sort of let him continue to take a beating, but you could tell it was going one way. It was going to be a Frazer Clarke knockout. I mean, but I see Tetteh's protest because he was getting beaten up, but he was sort of on his feet. And at the time of the stoppage, it was kind of a clinch. So they were kind of in a clinch, and then when they came out of the clinch, that's when the referee stopped it. But at the same time, I suppose it was going one way. It was all one-way traffic. Tetteh wasn't really in the fight. He was missing wildly, and the significant hard punches were all being landed by one man, and that was by Frazer Clarke. So, yeah, very good first round knockout by Frazer Clarke. First round stoppage, should I say. And it's good to see him get back in the ring and get back to winning ways. Obviously, you worry about the health of the fighters, but being that this is what he's choosing, this is what he's going to do. So it's good to see him back to winning ways. Who he'll fight next, I'm not too sure, but yeah, I was very happy to see him back in there in winning ways. So let me know your thoughts on the fight, and if you thought there was anything controversial with this stoppage. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Till next time, Sam KO Boxing, over and out.